Welcome everybody to the session Inclusive Education Programs in Museums and Cultural Institutions. I'm the chair of this session. My name is Doris Rothauer. I'm from Vienna. It's my third time here at the Zero Project Conference, and I'm really happy to have the possibility to chair a session, especially about the topic museums and art institutions, because I think art has to play a major role in making the world more inclusive. Thank you very much, Martin Essel, to have invited me to put together this wonderful conference. I have to say, every time I'm here, I'm overwhelmed by all this love and empathy that is here, that I feel. And it will be hard for me to go back to my normal job on Monday and not have this fantastic community around me. So thanks a lot to the conference organizers. Why do I chair this session? What's my connection to the topic? My background is actually art management. I have been working in art institutions for many years, and I know them from inside. What I do now is I am an impact consultant, so I'm helping art institutions to be more impactful and contribute to a sustainable and better future. And I think inclusion is a very important topic to be more impactful. I also I'm an alumni of the visionary program of Ashoka. That's an organization who introduced me to the tools and methods how to be more impactful. And I'm a mentor for the transfer program here within the conference, which was presented yesterday at the forum. So 10 presentations every year, 10 projects every year, with the aim to scale internationally and worldwide. And I have been mentor for the last 3 years, and I had the honor and pleasure to mentor an art institution or art initiative every time. The first year was the Museum of Modern Art with the educational program. They do an excellent job to be inclusive, to make the museum inclusive. Second year, which was last year, was Danceability, also a fantastic project. And Connie, one of the board members of Danceability, is also here, and she gave little short dancing performances. And this year I'm mentoring Nils, who will be presenting here. I was asked if I want to do a short presentation. I decided not to. We have such great presenters, 5 institutions, so I really want to give the time and stage to them. Just only one thing that I want to mention. One of my projects that I do with the name of Cultural Impact is a kind of platform and a blog on the impact of museums. Whoever is interested in hearing and learning more about it can come to me afterwards. And I will also do the next post on the blog on this session and the presentations today. So, may I introduce the round to you and the presenters. I do it in the order of the presentations. Our first presenter will be Rotraut Krall. She's from the Kunsthistorische Museum in Vienna, which I guess you all might have heard from. It's the, I would say, most important and biggest historical art museum in the world, with close to around 2 million visitors a year, if I'm right. She will present an app that supports people with different impairment when they are visiting the museum. It was developed as an European community-funded project within Arches. And it was a multi-stakeholder approach to create the app. So people with disabilities were included, and we have 3 of them here as a guest. And one will also speak together with Rotraut, Krall, and her name is Sigrid Kundela, and we will hear her later. Second is Roni Ankori, to my left. She's director of culture and of the Culture and Art Department at AKIM Israel. AKIM Israel is a national organization of people for people with intellectual disabilities and their families, and they provide all kinds of programs and activities in the areas such as education, community, housing, employment, and also culture and arts. And she will talk about how to make museums more cognitively accessible. Then to my right side, Nils Wöbke from Capito in Germany. He was my mentee, and he presented already yesterday in the big forum that we had in the morning. Capito means in Italian, yes, I understand, io capito. And that's actually really what refers to what they do. They help build an inclusive society with easy language services and products. And one of their services or one of their projects is that they educate people to become museum guides, which helps people with disabilities to give them a great job opportunity to work in an art institution, and at the same time it makes the museums more inclusive. And he has also a guest presenter with him, Julia. She is one of these guides, and we will hear about her experience later. Then the 4th presenters are Margarida, Leote, Vieira. It's difficult for me to pronounce. She's from Portugal, and another Margarida Costa Cervullo Rodriguez. Is this right? So I always say the 2 Margaritas, and that's how they introduce themselves. 2 Margaritas. And they are from the Calouste Gulbenkian Foundation and Museum in Portugal, one of the most important museums in Portugal. They have a huge collection from ancient Egypt art to earlier 20th century, and was founded by Calouste Gulbenkian, who was a businessman, entrepreneur, philanthropist, collector in the 19th century. And then last, we have Friederike Lassi-Belitz from Albertina and Victoria Müllegger from the Academy for Research on Aging, both from Vienna. Albertina is also one of the most important museums and is worldwide known for their huge collection of old master prints, graphic works, and drawings. But by now they have a huge collection of all kinds of arts and medium, not only paperwork. And they will present a project which is called Virtual Trip, an interactive virtual reality tour for people, for elderly people who normally have no experience with technology. So I'm very much looking forward to these 5 presentations. Each presentation will be 9 minutes. Please make your notes and questions and remarks, and we hopefully have time after the presentations to exchange with you to answer questions and give feedback on remarks. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rotraut Krall. I am responsible for barrier-free art education programs in the Fine Arts Museum in Vienna. And I was also the head of the team in Vienna of the project Arches, and I would like to present you now some results of this project. I thank you very much for the possibility of speaking here, and I'm really, really happy and very proud of my team of participants, because a lot of them are sitting in the auditory. It's your success, and it's really marvelous what we could experience in this time. And we were chosen for an award this year, and it's really, really, really great, and thank you very, very much for whatever you have done for this project. You know, the Kunsthistorische Museum is one of the biggest museums of the world. We heard it already with more or less 2 million visitors. Today it's one of the leading art institutions in barrier-free art education. And to improve these special programs, the Kunsthistorische Museum became partner of the ARCHIS project. ARCHIS is an EU-funded project run by 12 partners. You see here the logos of the partners, and 6 partners were museum partners. We here in Vienna, the Fine Arts Museum, 3 Spanish collections, Thyssen Foundation, Thyssen-Bornemisza, then the museum Lázaro Galdiano and Oviedo, and 2 museums in London, Victoria and Albert Museum and Wallace Collection. The project lasted 3 years and was finished in December 2019. And we have 3 results. One result, it's the result I present you, is a mobile device app, a game, and an interactive tactile relief. And I invite you to test the relief in the exhibition area. Andreas Reichinger, who supported us with these reliefs, is there and will explain you everything. With these 3 items, museums should become more accessible for people with different disabilities. Yeah, the essence and innovative aspects of ARCHIS. From the beginning, we worked with a group of about 20 people with different impairments. This was really a great challenge. We had to work with visually impaired, hearing impaired, and cognitive impaired people together. In Vienna, we ran in total 30 workshops, all 6 partner museums together, about 200 workshops. We worked in a participatory manner, and that means the participants advised the partners on the development, optimization, and validation of whatever we planned and we wanted to realize. And this was the very, very interesting experience for all of us, not only for us as art educators, but also for the whole team of our participants. Sorry. So, the impact of ARCHIS. The main impacts of ARCHIS are a more independent access to art. ARCHIS is beneficial for everybody, not only for people with disabilities. ARCHIS can be easily adapted by other museums, and for dissemination's sake, the ARCHIS museum partners had already additional workshops in Italy, France, Slovenia, and Germany, and these workshops go on. We work together in the museums, visiting all the collections, choosing the art items. We want to explain exactly when you use the app, and you get then at the end of my speech the link where you can find the downloads. You get information to 20 art objects in very beautiful objects description, which is good for people with visual impairment. We have easy to read texts, and we have lots of sign videos also. So you see the app can really be used by all of us, and not only by one group of disabled people, by all groups of disabled people. And what is also important, the app can also be used by everybody, young people, elderly people, and it's just a nice item and tool to go through the museum and to have a look to special artworks. Perhaps some interesting facts. The project I told you already ran for 3 years. The Viennese Museum started with the workshops in the middle of the project, therefore we had only 30 workshops. The English Museum started first, then followed the Spanish ones, and then we here in Vienna. The project was funded by the EU Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program with about 3.8 million euro. What's most important, and this was also the aim of all of us, and we wanted to reach this aim, the content can be continuously extended. Now we have 20 art items, but I can load up more information and information about lots of other art items, and we will also do that. But the challenge is, of course, the further maintenance and the financing of improvements and content extensions. The funding sum was not too big, but we have a very good basic tool, I would say, and now we need to continue our project. Yeah, arches in the future. As I told you already, have to continuously improve the usability and technology of the app. The app will be translated in English. In the moment, only the interactive relief is also available in English, but the app has to be translated in English. The app shall become compatible with the already existing KHM Museums app. We have, since several years, a beautiful app, KHM Stories. You can download it for free, as also the Arches app, but it's not yet compatible, and we have to do that now. And the content, that means the number of the explained artworks, will be extended. It was a great time for all of us, and here are some statements of the participants. I think the most interesting experience was how the different groups of disabled people come along with each other. And one of the blind participants told me at the end, it was most important for me to learn how people with another impairment than mine really feel. Another group said, well, we are so glad that I finally can enjoy museums nearly without anybody else's help. That's important because, you know, perhaps the access to museums, not the mobile access, but the content access of museums, this was really a great problem several years ago, and so we are now on a good way. And all of them said, I wish there would be more such projects like Arches, and now just one word. Please, Sigrid. The drawing you see here was done by Sigrid Kundela, and I think that's the best summary you can get from this project.
Yeah, you can see the pictures very good. It means we are blind and can see. We are deaf and can hear. We are disabled, but no problem. We all are friends and became masters of art, almost. Huh? But together we are clever. That's it.
I think that's really well done, and it's just a point and the heart of our project. And Sigrid had also the very good idea to implant and to install now regular tours in the museum. And since October of the last year, we have regular Friday barrier tours, and you can have a look to our homepage. Here just we come to an end. You find all the useful links, and all these apps and games, and everything works on Android and also on iOS. Thank you very much.
Less than 9 minutes. Great. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Roni Ankori, and I'm from AKIM Israel. I forgot my glasses, so I need it. I can tell my name without glasses, but the rest I need assistant. I'm representing AKIM Israel here, and I will tell you a few words about AKIM Israel, but beforehand, before I'll explain about our project, I would like to invite all of you to Israel, because I think that the presentation won't give even a glimpse of what really the museums are all about, and you need to experience it by your feet. And be my guest. I'll leave you my card, my details, and if you can come to Israel, it's only a few hours flight. Come, experience from museums, it's worthwhile. Okay. AKIM Israel is a national organization for people with intellectual disability and their families, founded in 1951. AKIM Israel acts to realize the rights to promote better quality of life and improve the life of people with intellectual disabilities and their relatives. Today, the organization represents 35,000 people with IDD and approximately 140,000 family members and the legal guardians in both Jewish and Arab sectors in 65 branches. And about a museum, making museum cognitively accessible. I would like to share with you today my vision about it. First of all, we had to identify that people with intellectual disability could not fully understand or enjoy museum exhibits, so we had to initiate and lead a national program to make museum and leisure sites cognitively accessible for people with intellectual disability. We trained in this process, first of all, the management staff and the leading staff, the tour guides. It was a long-term training process when we went from different museums, and each of the museums shows what he's done, and we used the best people in the field to train the staff in the museum. The pilot was developed in 4 sites, different sites. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Just a second. Oh, I'm after, okay. Was developed in 4 sites in collaboration with the governmental institutions. Oh, sorry, I'm jumping. Right, sorry. Okay, sorry, yeah. Okay. Okay, so we chose 4 different sites. One, as you see, is a science museum. Athlete is the Teni Museum, it's a historical site. Vieira, it's an environmental museum. And the City of David, it's archaeological museum. The idea was to create a prototype of museum that each of the museums in Israel that would like later on to implement those ideas, you can do it very easily. Okay. The 4 museums that we chose, that were part of this pilot, was the City of David in Jerusalem. An archaeological site was developed an argumental reality on the walls of David Castle, a model of hourglass and archaeological artifacts. The Technoda, the Science Museum, used a video of actors who explain a scientific experiment in a simple Hebrew. The demonstration is operated when the system recognizes the approach of an earphone worn by the visitors. Athlete, the 3rd museum, the Teni Museum, historical heritage site, which has been reconstructed. Visitor can hear voices of people who used to live there, sit, touch, and feel the exhibits. The Vieira, an environmental education center, use 2 large scales of models simulating a garbage management, the first model of the garbage mountain, and the second using recycled trucks. So as you see, we got different solutions, high-tech, low-tech, to each of the museums. The project impact. Expanding to other museums and sites of leisure in Israel. Tailor-made training program for professor and student for special education tracks in Bar Ilan University and other colleges. Hundreds of trainees, education coordinators in the community living for people with intellectual disabilities. The beneficiaries of the projects, thousands of people with intellectual disability visited and fully enjoyed the exhibits. I can tell you that each of the museums in the last year, we had over 1,000 people. In each of the 4 museums, more than 1,000 people with intellectual disability visited those museums. Beforehand, there was almost nothing. People with intellectual disability become self-educated who can demand and expect that more such places will be cognitively accessible. And last, research shows a clear improvement along the hundreds of people with intellectual disability improve their visit experience and gain knowledge. Here are the few slides, few pictures of the museums. The athlete, the historical sites, you can see the lady sitting by the exhibits, reading, touching, sitting, actually experimenting the site itself by touching and hearing their voices, as I said. City of David in Jerusalem, the old city, one of the exhibits out of 5. People are drawing in front of the old city of Jerusalem. Underneath, on the left-hand side, you can see the garbage management of the trucks. People experience of garbage management by playing and experimenting it. And the Science Museum, the 2 ladies wearing headphones, and if you can see a screen, there is an Hebrew, in easy language, explaining how to do the experiments. Okay, one more pictures. The Science Museum, another experiment, the earphones and the actors. Athlete, the historical sites. Beforehand, people couldn't sit, and at the moment they can sit, they relax, they can hear the explanation. On the left-hand side, you can see a group of people enjoying and understanding how the garbage mountain been created. On the right-hand side, you can see a training of leaders from YMCA that want to implement this project at their places. And I've got 1 more minute. Okay. Thanks to AKIM input, with all the partners, it's important, it's a governmental partners, for the first time special attention was given for making museums and sites of leisure cognitively accessible in Israel. We thank a lot our partners that are not here today, really very strong partners. We've done it, we wouldn't be able to do it without them. And thank you for listening. And the last picture over there is another trained group of students from the Bar Ilan University in the tracks of special needs that come to learn about the project. I'm Roni Ankori, and as I said in the beginning, I invite you to Israel, and anyone that will come to Israel to learn about this project, I promise personally that I will take him to each of the 4 museums to learn about this project. Come, it's important, because we've done something beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, dear ladies and gentlemen, we are so happy to stand here with 3 persons from our project, Capito Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, in which we trained museum guides actually with special needs to get and to work in museums. And Julia now will start to tell her and you her story, and that will be translated by Felix, another museum guide, in English.
Sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, herzlich willkommen in Wien. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Vienna.
Clara war in Wien und ich bin erst heute.
Clara was in Vienna and I am here today.
Das Bild auf Clara gibt mir Sicherheit und Selbstbewusstsein.
The picture of Clara gives me a century and confidence.
Ich bin jetzt sehr aufgeregt.
I am very excited right now.
Aber wenn ich Clara anschaue, ist es, als würde sie mir sagen.
But when I look at Clara, it is as she would say to me.
Julia, ich bin in Gedanken bei dir und du schaffst das.
Julia, I am with you in spirit and you can do it.
Clara hatte eine lange Reise hinter sich.
Clara had a long journey.
Sie war im 17. Jahrhundert in Paris.
She was in the 17th century in Paris.
Und ich war im 20. Jahrhundert in Paris.
And I was in 20th century in Paris.
Claras Mutter wurde von Jägern getötet.
Clara's mother has killed by hunters.
Ich weiß, dass heute noch Nashörner getötet werden.
I know that today rhinos are still being killed.
Ich möchte gerne, dass diese Nashornart geschützt wird.
I would like it very much if the rhinos could be protected.
Dann kann auch die Generation nach uns diese Nashornart in freier Wildbahn sehen.
Then the generations after us can also see the rhinos in the wild. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Julia, for your great guidance and introduction. And also you, Felix, for your perfect translation. That's your applause. Yeah. Thank you. My name is Nils Wöbke, and together we are the team of Capito Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. What's the essence of our project, actually, where we guide people, visitors in museums. There you can see a picture from the Art Museum in Schwerin. And I would like to invite you to think about your last museum visit. How did it feel for you? Did you get the information? Did you understand it? Did you feel comfortable with the staff? Just think a short minute. We got the answer from many analyzers and proving in museums that we actually see a lot of physical and informational barriers in the museums, and they are actually the root causes for museum exclusion for so many communities like blind people, deaf people, and so on. And we decided to change this by doing an education for people with special needs to become a museum guide. So we go into the museum and reach so many more people and to influence this change management, because then the visitors, the staff of the museum, they all get sensibilized and could improve the museum to become a place for all. These are the three target groups we are heading out with our project, where we see activities and impact people with special needs first, which get the education to become professional museum guides, and they actually should then get, as a consequence, working contracts. The museums, they get sensibilized by the education and do their surrounding barrier-free and accessible and get offered the museum contract, the working contract, and the visitors and non-visitors, they get understandable information and approach to the museum. And some of the visitor groups that haven't shown up so far could get into the museum. We have a replication strategy in order to spread our great experience over the last 3 years by training museum guides with the implementation of the train-the-trainer concept with the education staff, and we also have a manual for training and accessible materials for all, which includes 46 learning units by 9 modules, and we would like to replicate this actually in the German-speaking countries and further on in other regions in the world when we translated this. These materials have easy to read and understand information and with audio and are accessible. We also offer coaching seminars and workshops as an inclusive museum academy in order to make and help the museums to make action plans to fulfill the UN commitment for accessibility and participation to get a museum for all. Yeah, we look for social investors to strengthen our resources and get more impact, museums for employing the guides, trainers for education for the people with special needs, and of course people with special needs for guide education that we experience so much and so deeply in this context. And after all, I would like Julia to come up again here. She began with the museum guidance of the picture Clara you've seen, and she also made it by making a film with so-called Legetrick. And now we can watch it.
Also, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah, and this is the end. Stand up, please. Könnt gerne aufstehen. This is another part of the guidance of Julia, and she made the film and learned how to make Legetrick. Yeah, thank you, and if you have any questions, we will be glad to answer it and get into discussion after it.
So the next 2 presenters speak from their table. Yes, but please turn on your microphone because I think it's connected to being recorded.
Hello, good morning. We are the Margaridas, and we are going to speak about our experience in the work with special needs public. Is that okay? Yeah. So, Calouste Gulbenkian Foundation is a private foundation, and it has 3 different educational departments. We work mostly on the 2 contexts on your left. Up is the modern collection, and at the bottom is the founders collection. On your right, on top of it is the auditorium, the main auditorium, that represents the music educational department, and at the bottom, the garden. Thank you. So, Mr. Gulbenkian was the founder of this foundation. He was an Armenian guy, and it was a visionary. He invested on the oil business, and with his wealth, he created a collection that, as Doris said, it is since Egypt till 19th century. The basis of the foundation are the work with art, education, science, and the beneficence and social inclusion.
Hello, I make part of the Margarida's team. So we do, in our foundation, we work with a transversal way in all educative departments. So we want to get people the access to all foundation, and we work together with diverse coordinators, curators, and mediators, mainly external mediators, because our team, we are just two. The others are freelancer. So we work in double, like we are presenting here today, in pairs, because we think that it's better for the people have two voices, and sometimes the gender male and female, sorry, I'm very nervous. The team is an artist and people from pedagogical area. And we work through dance, through music, through drawing, that came from the work of art. So we don't have sophisticated equipments and apps. We mainly do our work by doing and giving the people the information from the work of arts. We work with schools, with families, and we have programs also for adults, and we have programs for all people. So we don't work, how do I say, separately. We work for all. And we think it's a need preparing work with the institutions, the families that came to us, and we make a meeting. And in that meeting, we ask what do they want to see in the museum, what do they want to do in the museum. And after that meeting, we make a tailor-made activity from our program, through dance, through music, through drawing, inside the museum. So we have several workshops, but tailor-made to the groups that as well go to them interests. Oh, sorry. Okay, so
For about 2 years now, more or less, we started activities for visually impaired people and also hearing impaired public. Not only in the museum, but also in the garden. For the hearing impaired public, we chose to have a mediator who is deaf. So we have been training the person to be a mediator. And it has been some kind of a struggle and a learning process, but it's very good and rich as well. Besides the activities for the groups, we have been contacted by universities, schools, professional schools, students, partners from different museums, in order to share our experience, our way of doing, share tools, share thoughts, or struggles, or everything. Sharing. So here in the picture you can see a group of an European project that is working with the museum, and they are using the tactile replica of a work of art that is on the other side of them, that is used on the activities for blind people. Our main goal, of course, is that the foundation can be accessible for everyone. We started with educational activities. Now we are trying to reach the different departments in the Gulbenkian, not only the educational departments, but curatorial and up, in order to get everyone in. But we are still struggling with having the knowledge, the different possibilities to work with, which one are best with our context, with our public. Also, getting in the different departments is kind of a struggle as well, and getting the public in, because it's one of the things that we have been hearing here in Zero Project, that is doing with us, right? So we started with the public, but now we were like, they are not coming in, so we probably have to change things around. And yeah, that's the next year plan, is to change things around to get the public in again. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our last presentation.
Hi everybody. Is melody and tone nice? Do you hear me? Yes? How are you? Are you still awake? Yes? Ah, fine, okay. So my name is Friederike Lassi-Belitz. I'm from the Albertina, and it's a pleasure to introduce you a project which is an educational project, but not only for children, for everybody who is not able to enter the museum. On my side, this is Victoria, and without her and her ideas, this project wouldn't have been possible. So let's change the next slide. So I'm coming from the Albertina, and I would love to say the Albertina is the biggest museum. Unfortunately, it isn't. You already listened to the Kunsthistorische Museum, which is the biggest museum. But I found out we are in the very heart of Vienna, and we have 1 million visitors a year. And all of a sudden, we offer programs for all people, so inclusive programs. But turns out, society turns older, and actually there is the risk of losing a whole generation, those who cannot enter the museum anymore because they cannot leave their homes, their beds, whatever. So, and what we are going with them, what we're doing. So if people cannot come to the museum, there's only one solution. The museum has to come to the people home. And here's the way Victoria enters the project.
Hi everyone. I work for Haus der Barmherzigkeit, and it's a nursing home facility in Austria. We have different facilities for people that are elderly or people with disabilities, about 1,600 clients in Austria. And we have a department that's the Academy for Research on Aging, and we do projects that are related to active and assisted living technologies. And they're using technologies to help people to live on their own and be independent. And we do this because we want our residents to be part of the future and part of the technology, to be able to shape the design of these things. And we were wondering how everyday life is not accessible for the people with handicaps, and so what could we do with them, like to be part of normal activities in society? And then we thought we could use virtual reality. And virtual reality, as you can see in the picture, there are these glasses, and we're thinking, what could we do with them? So we asked our residents, and we figured the potential of this technology is actually that people can visit places with those goggles without thinking about physical impairments. So they can go places without thinking about how to get there, what happens when they are there. They can relive memories instead of just thinking about it, and it's also variety for everyday life. So, and last but not least, it's also motivation for therapy and training. So we thought, okay, this is a good thing, and we'll try, and we'll see what happens with it. Okay, there we go. No? One back. Okay, so our project name is Virtual Trip, and as you can see on this picture, our client has virtual reality goggles on, and our staff or just a family member or a friend can operate the whole glasses via the notebook. And it's connected via the internet, it's simultaneous transmission, so people can see on the notebook what you can see on the glasses, because otherwise virtual reality glasses are a technology that is very isolating, because you're just all by yourself with this technology, and this way you can see on a notebook and operate it, everything you can do with it. And the people who are wearing the glasses don't have to worry about how to use this technology. And we're using 360-degree photos and of, for example, Albertina, but also Kunsthistorisches Museum, we have some pictures too. And we're also using ambient sounds that make you feel be there more than just with the pictures. And we're trying to do this just to retrieve some kind of normalcy for the people. And it's a way to experience something together. So the technology is actually in the background, and then the focus is the being together in another place without thinking about how to get there.
So what we are seeing now is just a tiny movie. So actually, we cannot provide to everybody such a virtuality glass, but we just made a movie or a copy of what participants saw and how he used it. So now you hear the background sound of Vienna. You're standing right in front of the museum of the Albertina, and what we see is exactly the way how the participant turned in the room, and now he's standing in the very center of one exhibition hall in the Albertina, and his view is just changing. He looks up on the ceiling, the floor, he checks the artworks, and if he's interested, he just gets closer to it, and all the technique is done
Im
by...
Bild der kleinen Elisabeth Maître erweist sich Pierre-Auguste Renoir als der Meister des Porträts, als den ihn schon seine Zeitgenossen schätzten.
Stop the video. Thank you, just stay here, thank you. And you can get closer. You don't have to worry about how can I come closer. You just make a movement with your hands, and your partner, who is doing all the technical stuff, is zooming into the picture. And when you're zooming into the picture, you can see, oh, there is a text on it. You can read the text. You can see there is a label for a sign for an audio guide. So may I use the audio guide? Yes, you can. You can behave like you would be in the museum. But the most important thing is you are not alone. Somebody is with you. Somebody is sharing your view, and you can talk to each other, and you can share your expectations. You can share what you see. And this is a very nice way to communicate, to keep your memories alive. And this is, we found out people were very fond of it.
Can you go back?
So would you please just come back to the presentation? Just click back. Yes, here we are.
Thank you. And the impact that we created with it, it's that actually the residents were very open about this technology, and they really enjoyed being part of those attractions, and it also produced enthusiasm about this new obtained participation, and it also helped the people relive memories instead of just dreaming of it. The challenge is, of course, in a nursing home we don't have the staff to do all these extracurricular things. So we're thinking about we need to change it to a little company doing this for the nursing homes and for the people and not the nursing staff itself.
And the challenge for the museums were quite awful. Guys, remember about this huge copyrights. So whenever you want to use some paintings, artworks, younger artworks, in multimedia, barrier-free digital ways. Do you know how much time-consuming it is to get all these copyrights? And then there are so many problems. Are we really doing our best to offer a fake museum? Wouldn't it be nicer to really get them inside the museum? Is this really a really good solution? What about the erratic of the original artwork? So there are lots of problems. Is this project possibly a lame excuse that we are not able to bring them all into the museum? And what about the people with visual impairments? So let's talk about these people. You see, it's kind of solution, but not all problems are solved.
Yes, and until we can solve all of these other problems, we'll try to work on this project and enlarge the library and the content, and also involve the feedback by our users and bring people from museums to go outside and do these things with people in their places. So, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for all these 5 great presentations. I think a lot of questions might have come up within the presentations. Maybe also offers from the audience to help scaling, to help overcoming challenges that are faced. So please ask questions. I guess at some point, actually in 4 minutes, this session is ending. So at some point we might be thrown out. But until then, please ask your questions here. And then later, I'm sure there is a possibility outside individually. We also have a microphone to give around, or you speak into your microphone ahead in front of you.
This one?
Middle, big button, yeah.
I wanted to ask Neil, what challenges did you have in your project?
Quite a lot of challenges, I would say. One challenge is to have an individual approach, because every trainee is different and needs some adapted education, and that's somehow time you have to afford and to invest. But then we try to standard our practice and education, so the time so many more people would participate, we'll get more information and background for the individual solutions we need. So we try to get every individual from the place where he stands.
Hello, my name is Kjell, I'm from Sweden. Have you had, when these guides enter the museums, I'm thinking about Pommern, Mecklenburg, all right, Nils. Has it become how did the normative guides that are already there accept their new colleagues? Was there any fear of competition, or you know, who's going to do what, or how did you manage to make a cooperation out of that?
Yeah, I would say that's a process. Some of them are ready and share and don't see pressure, but another perspective, and they would learn from it. Others don't show up, and there's no face-to-face communication, but we are ready to work on that in a long perspective and give them some sort of workshops and opportunities. We don't catch everybody to come, but we try to make different approaches. Yeah, but there's quite a lot of interest right now, we see awareness actually.
That might be an interesting question to everyone on the podium, because I saw people nodding on the podium. I guess every institution knows about the problem, how to bring in people from outside and be inclusive within this institution and not only towards the visitor, right? Rotraut, please.
Well, we made very good experience bringing in all these people. We had best experiences during this workshop, and I think this is just a personal decision. If somebody else is open-minded or is now has decided for oneself, I try it out, I do it. I think the longer we work together with people with impairment, the better the community will be and the easier the way is. I have another question to you. I know that the museum in Schwerin, when you know that the German museum situation, has a really good reputation in working with people with disabilities, and I know very well the colleagues there. And I learned a lot from the colleagues there, and I know that years ago the education department started already to work with people with disabilities and to bring them in. I suppose that you need also the knowledge of this stuff there. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because it's the basic knowledge is from the group of the museum educators, and well, I think Schwerin is here, just when you look already, the museum itself, with and without people with disabilities, has a marvelous reputation. And well done that you have now reached this collaboration or this level of art educating. But I can say it's the best experience we had, and I can only say just try it out and do it also in your institution. It's marvelous, a very good experience for us, for ourselves. I learned a lot from my group, and also a very good experience for all the other people around this group. When I think to my guest service team, also the people who look for us in our museum, they were so happy that they had the chance to support us, and they are so good now in caring for people with disabilities. It's really a good work. Thank you.
I think that collaboration and co-creation are key, not only key words, but key activities to be inclusive. And I think all the examples on the podium share this approach, I would say, and I think that's the main, also the key to success, to be creating a successful program. Any more questions?
Just press the big button.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Lisa Zeiler. And I would just like to add perhaps one more thought to the idea of inclusive guiding. I'm a professional tourist guide, and I represent the European Federation of Tourist Guides. And we have also been concerned with the idea of offering tours for all, inclusive tours, and improving our services for people with impairments or disabilities. We have been part of a Leonardo-funded project to develop training for tourist guides who want to provide tours for people with learning difficulties or cognitive impairments. So the idea of creating great guiding experiences for everybody, people with disabilities, but really everybody can benefit from inclusive tours, from advanced guiding techniques. So this is something that we would also like to share and perhaps cooperate also with the museums. We're guiding in museums, but also on coaches and doing walking tours. And this is one of our great ambitions, to improve our services, to improve the service for everybody. Thank you.
Are there more questions? Because otherwise I think I have to end the session, not that I want to. Maybe one last word. I think it's very important not only to be inclusive, offer inclusive activities to the audience as a museum, but I think it's also important to act as a role model and give the experience on to other museums and institutions. So, because we need a lot of change makers also in the art world to make the world more inclusive. Thank you.